and welcome back to the Waasi podcast, where we bring you all of the rebellious content we know you want and need. This episode, as you know, is about afro bubblegum, which is the counterculture that exists within film genre. We are here with an incredibly influential actor who only goes by very few names, but today we're going to call him Buggi. Please give a short bio about yourself and the movie Dreamchild.
I'm Buggi. I'm an actor. I've been acting for I think 7 years now on TV. So we did Dreamchild 3 years ago, 2017. Dreamchild actually has a very, very controversial topic. It's about the boy child. If you watch the film Dreamchild, it's about the boy child, the pressure the boy child has, in this society that we have, whereby you cannot speak, you cannot cry, you cannot openly show your emotions. So I play the role of Kevin. So Kevin, we just see the life of Kevin. He was this perfect child from a perfect family, but he had so much hidden in him but he just couldn't do some things, because you're a man, men don't cry, men don't do this. Then when finally all that pain, all that anger, all that depression builds up and he does something, that's when society starts to notice. Like just what's happening right now. People are like, oh, why a guy is committing suicide, why a guy is killing their wives, But nobody gives a fuck of, before that, like, they never paid attention.
So you could even say that Dreamchild examines, like, this subculture of, like, a softer side of masculinity. Not necessarily... Yeah, it's like the subculture of, like, men being able to talk about their emotions.
Exactly.
That's that.
Yeah. It's something like that.
So there is, but now for reference to what we're talking about as far as afro bubblegum being about black joy, and Dreamchild being sort of a more dramatic role, there's this thing that we talked about, the African Bechdel test, which is, are two or more Africans in the movie healthy? Are those same Africans financially stable, not in need of saving, and are they having fun and enjoying? So obviously Dreamchild is more of a drama, but do you think that there's any point in that movie where there was like happiness being portrayed?
Yeah, there was. There was. I mean, we have certain roles, like the girl who plays my sister Brenda. Julie Brenda, she plays the role of my sister, and she's just the typical girl of our generation. Like she's so by herself. Yeah. She just wants, when she's eating, she has her earphones on, but now the parents are like, what the fuck are you doing?
So she isolates herself.
She's just isolating herself, but she also has so much that she comes to reveal later on. And she's like, the world we live in, things are like this. The reason why I'm so isolated like this is because, everything I do, I'm judged by everything I do, especially because I'm a female.
Yeah, so it's even...
So it's very deep. When you watch Dreamchild, if you're really open-minded, you'll be able to see all of these characters which are portrayed, which are exact reflection of our society.
Yeah. Well, it's good because I would almost say part of the reason the Afro Bubblegum came to be is because it's coming in response to this stereotypical view of African life being very like surface level suffering, and like that's the only way that the West sort of sees it. But you would say Dreamchild portrays sort of more complex relationships in the household.
Yeah. Most of our films, like as you said, it was very shallow. Like the family setup. We don't have that much detail in our family setups. The relationship between the mother and the daughter, the mother and the father.
There's
the mother.
Stereotypical.
So Dreamchild opens that up a bit. We get to see the real, the way we are, the way Africa is, the way Kenya is, the way we are. And I think such films alongside Busala, Supermondo, Rafiki, such films. They're bringing, they're opening more doors for this, and they're giving hope to more creatives who are, especially in our country, where we have some people over there who really, So they're giving hope to so many creatives, especially a film like Rafiki,
Yeah.
to open up, speak about their craft openly, perform, tell our own stories to our own people
Yeah.
with our own language.
So, speaking of Rafiki, you got your start in like a more comedic background, and then
Yeah.
obviously Dreamchild is the total contrast of that. But another sort of contrast to even both like comedy and drama is like this Afro bubblegum, where it's not necessarily focusing on comedy, but it's like joyous in nature. Could you see yourself in a role like that, where it was not necessarily exactly the storyline of Rafiki, but that like black joy and that really bubbly and like frivolous sort of role?
I don't know. I never say never, but I mean, if there's a good story out there,
You're willing to tell it.
a story that I'm interested in and I find it interesting and I think people should hear such a story, I'll be
You'd
okay.
be
I'll be
into
easy.
it.
Yeah, I'll be into it. Yeah.
So even another thing that we touched on is whether or not fun is political, and but really what I think we've established is like fun is political and sort of being creative is kind of political. What's your take on the politics of being an actor or a creative?
I mean, it's especially here. It's so
You
political.
can swear, it's fun.
It's so fucking political because I mean, someone will bash your film, will bash your content, your music, your film, your art online. And like, shit, man, we can't allow this in our country. This is not our values, this is not our culture. And the same people will be coming for your premiere, be calling you like, yo, that film, are you going,
Yeah, they want to attach their name to it.
They want to attach their name to it. So most of these people who are doing all of this thing on social media, it's all political. Like, I have to do that so that people can see I'm doing my job, or I have to do that just to create a certain buzz around that. And they end up hurting a lot of creatives in that, because Ezekiel Mtua, manze.
You can say his name, it's fine.
Yeah, like he's been all over,
Yeah.
all of this new content that's come from Gengeton, from Rafiki, to all of this.
Yeah.
It's like, but he's not even giving us solutions, He's all about bashing, and Ezekiel has never sat down and told creatives, come we meet, let's talk about how to polish this content to make it not to hinder your creative capabilities, just to make it, not to hinder your space, not to get into your space, but also being sensitive to the kind of market we have here in Africa. He's never done that, but social media, it's all about, this is wrong, we'll never grow from that, man.
Do you think that Ezekiel Mutua should have a voice about content that's created online? Because from my perspective, I understand him wanting to govern TV, radio, things that are traditionally accessible. But when it comes to online, that's essentially trying to govern a small portion of the universe, Do you think that he should have a lot of power in that aspect?
That would be dangerous, according to me. Ezekiel is doing his job. He's in that office. He's doing whatever he's doing because that's his job. Because he's definitely getting a lot of pressure from people.
Of course, he has
so that's
bosses.
why, he has bosses, so he's doing his job. But when it comes to online should be a safe space for every creative.
Yeah.
To be a safe space where you're not limited. You're not, as long as you stick by the rules, the guidelines,
Of that space.
Of that space, if it's YouTube, if it's,
Yeah.
But it should not be, when you give someone such powers, it will become political.
The other questions we had, and it kind of, again, going back to, Black joy and sort of where we've stood in media, what do you think we could do that stops the separation of exemplifying Black joy in our films? Walking away from this idea that when you talk about Africa, you have to talk about suffering or you have to talk about a struggle.
I think we just have to tell from our own creatives. And I think our own creatives are starting slowly. We're starting to produce films that portray the real Africa, not whatever we... we were stereotyped to even the things we are producing, even our own
Yeah.
creatives are producing stuff that don't display the real Africa.
Yeah.
You know, if I wanted to do a film about Africa, I'll do it in a village where there's this,
Yes.
you know,
In
yeah,
shads
in
and things
shads,
like
yeah.
that, yeah.
There's this broke boy who will go to the city
Yeah.
and be, you know.
Yeah, and it's not all like that.
Yeah. We have a lot. So I think first of all, it starts with the creatives, where we'll start telling our own stories and finding a way to tell those stories to our own people.
Yeah.
And the only way our people will relate to our stories, if we give them something they can vibe to, something they can relate to.
Yeah.
You know, don't go to Hollywood, don't go to Europe, take an European story trying to make it African. People won't vibe with it, you know.
Yeah.
Africans ourselves, we are so, as in, we are the best, as in. If you just decide one day to do a documentary on Nairobi nightlife,
Yeah.
you know,
It's
only that,
relatable.
it's so, you know, we have so much culture, you know.
Yeah.
The events, thrift social,
Yeah.
you know, there's so much culture in us, but
So-
we just need that. We need
Yeah.
our creatives to start telling our own stories to our own people.
So would you say you as an actor and like an expert in this field, you're more focused on making sure that the stories get told in an authentic way rather than just having it be about happiness? Like you're more like authenticity.
I think I'm more of
Authenticity.
that. Yeah. Because when you talk too much about happiness, the same way we're talking too much about sadness and become like, yo, this is not the real us. There's always a balance in everything, you know.
Yeah,
not
absolutely.
everything is okay in Africa also.
Of
like
course.
even in Europe, not everything is okay.
Yeah.
You dig? So we need to we just tell our own stories, you
Yeah.
know. We have the bad times, we have the good times, you know.
Yeah.
We have our culture, so I think we just need to be authentic in everything, in what we are producing, and not try to create we are creating an illusion to our own people. Like there's some shows I watch and I'm like, is this Kenya? Like what's this? You know, so we just do our own shit for our own people.
Amen to that.
Yeah.
So I definitely appreciate the vibe that you have, appreciate, you know, the input you have. So drawing kind of everything to a close, is there sort of a last word you'd like to have people take away from this episode as far as where the film industry is headed? With films like Rafiki, with films like Dreamchild, do you think we're headed in a more authentic direction?
Yeah. I think so, and I think we should be ready we should be really ready to accept our own stories, because even most of the reasons we don't want to do or we copy stories is because our own audience don't want to watch our own stories.
That's
You
true.
get?
Yeah. Thank you so much for coming through. Obviously, we're very excited to see your future projects. Where can people find you and follow you?
You can find me on Instagram, Real Buggi.
Spell Buggi for the people.
Buggi.
Ooh.
You can also call me Gustavo.
Ooh.
Gustavo.
Gustavo.
Jimenez.
Oh, Jimenez. Ooh. If you use that as a sample in a song, I'm gonna charge you for it. We'll work out a deal.
We'll cut a deal.
We'll cut some kind of deal.
Yeah, so Nairobi.